What if the strongest kind of strength isn't loud? What if it doesn't come with big wins or bold speeches? And what if real strength just whispers, try again? Let me take you back to my fourth grade. I'd just come home from school. Backpack still on, shoes still dusty, when my right hand started to shake. Not the kind of shake that would stop. It wouldn't stop. Not for a minute, not for an hour. What followed were weeks and weeks of hospital visits, MRIs, and scans, and questions no one could answer. Finally, we had a name: neurocystic psychosis, a rare neurological condition that required 6 years of strict medication every single day. No skip doses, no excuses. If I missed even one, the entire cycle would reset. While other kids ran races, I counted pills. I didn't look sick. I had no cast, no bandages. Just a quiet, invisible battle and a rule I couldn't break. And that's where I learned my first lesson. Resilience isn't always loud or praise. Sometimes it's a whisper. Just one more day. By the time I turned 16, the medication stopped. The pills, the MRI, the waiting room, the chapter finally closed. And I thought to myself, maybe now things would feel normal. I went on to graduate from one of India's top architectural schools. I had the award, the research, the recognition. But something still didn't feel right. I didn't want to just design spaces. I wanted to design futures, systems, tools, new ways for people to learn, live, and interact. So I did something unexpected. I walked away from the path I'd spent years building and stepped into one I didn't fully understand: product, user experience, and eventually generative AI. But not everybody understood my decision. I was questioned by my peers, my mentors. But you did architecture. Are you sure this makes sense? What even is product innovation? And I questioned myself too. What if they were right? What if I was walking away from something extremely stable into something that wouldn't hold me? I had no map, no certainty. Just a persistent voice inside my head that said, go. Here's what no one tells you. When you choose discomfort, you choose to be questioned. And I was. I was criticized, laughed at, compared, doubted. Because I wasn't doing something that was expected. Because I chose the uncertain over the obvious. And maybe innovation over imitation. And that risk, it did not lead to instant success. It led to more discomfort. The kind of discomfort you feel when you're the youngest in the room, and probably the quietest. At 23, I became the youngest to join a global innovation team of a large consultancy. By 24, I was leading teams across countries, cultures, and time zones. But that did not mean that I always felt ready. I rewrote emails 5 times just to sound more confident. I sat in room with answers in my head and doubt in my voice, unsure if I had the right to speak. Because I wasn't just learning to lead. I was learning to trust that I belonged. I wasn't loud, but I stayed. I listened. Quietly and consistently. And slowly, that discomfort became direction. That uncertainty became growth. And that risk that once felt too big became the path I was meant to take. But looking back, I often wonder, what kept me going through it all? through the fear, the shifts, the changes. And I think part of the answer is I was raised in quiet strength. My father, a mariner, spends months away at sea, missing all important events and family milestones just so that we can have a good life. My brother, a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, wakes up every day to serve something bigger than himself with courage and compassion. And my mother, the steady constant. No matter how far we scatter across the oceans, altitudes, or fears, she always gets us together. I've never heard them say the word resilience, but I've observed it in their choices, in their actions, in their sacrifices. And that is the strength I come from. So whether I'm building something new, helping somebody, or staying in places where I feel I don't belong, I'm not just stepping forward. I'm standing on something extremely unshakable. Now I'm about to start a new adventure, an international MBA, new country, new pressure, new unknowns. And I'll be honest, I feel the weight of it all. The weight of having to start over, the weight of having to figuring out where I belong in rooms that move fast and demand quick decisions. Some nights I lie awake and wonder, will I be able to cope up? What if my health gives up again? But I remind myself, I've rebuilt before. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to grow. Because uncertainty does not mean you're not ready. It means you're about to stretch. So if there's something that you remember from today, let it be this. Discomfort will test you. Disruption will scare you. And uncertainty will shake you. But those aren't signs you're failing. They're signs you're becoming. Put them together, and what you're building is resilience. Not something you're born with, but rather a muscle that you build. In quiet battles, on ordinary days, in moments no one sees. And you know what? I'm still building mine. Thank you.